Wow, John. Let's talk about finance today.
We always talk about finance.
Yes. Question for you, John. If inflation is 5% and your savings account pays 0.5%, are you winning or losing, John?
Well, I mean, like losing in the sense that inflation is moving faster than your cash is growing, um, for sure. But like the reasons why you hold on to savings aren't usually for the same reasons that you'd invest. And people should think about it that way. Now, I understand obviously, like not everyone has capital on top of their savings that they can invest. But if you do, then you shouldn't view your savings account as necessarily getting eaten up by inflation, anyways, because you're using it for capital reserves in the case of immediate necessities. So fortunately, other investments like, and I will caveat this in a second, but big thing is equity securities, and also gold. Actually, let's talk about both of those very quickly. Right, both those are expected to have a correlation with inflation, but there's some interesting things that happen in some of the extreme scenarios. So, for example, in hyperinflationary periods, equity securities actually the correlation between equity securities and inflation actually starts to become more like disjoint. So equity securities in hyperinflationary environments actually do suffer, but otherwise they tend to track inflation. And also, gold is another interesting one because it does tend to move with inflation. But what we also see is that in deflationary periods, gold prices also move down as well. So it's more like literally correlated with the inflation rate, which I also find interesting, and maybe you will as well.
So you're saying, are we winning or losing?
Well, in that case, like technically, you are losing in the sense that like, your money is losing value,
Ah,
but that's from the sort of obvious math, the 4.5%
ah.
difference in the deficit direction.
So we're getting bamboozled.
Well, I mean, like I just said, like not really, because again, like your
Oh,
savings account isn't necessarily for like investment purposes. You use it for immediate liquidity needs, and so yes, it sucks in some sense, but it's probably worth making a separate video entirely on inflation, to be honest, because there's just too much to say about it. But in summary, inflation by itself isn't necessarily bad because, for example, inflation goes up as business activity picks up. So are we going to say that with more job opportunities, for example, inflation's bad? I don't know. Probably not.
amazing.